Hi, this is John from Lancaster Archery with another detailed product review. Today I'm excited to show you the Gillo GT riser. This is an ILF and formula style riser, brand new for the 2020 season. And there's some really unique qualities to this riser. Gillo has done a few things that nobody's really done before. It gives us some great new ability to adjust our bow in a way that we've never been able to do before. So I'm going to really briefly describe to you what the riser is, in what styles and lengths it's available, and then what's unique about the new bow. So the riser is a piece of solid aluminum machined. So this is a straight, true riser. They don't get better, more easy to adjust, or more precise than a machine style aluminum riser like this. That's consistent with what Gillo has done in the past. The finish on all the risers is a sandblasted matte finish with an anodize. What that means is it's not a high gloss finish. You're going to see grain to it. You're going to feel texture to it. Most of our customers like that look. I think it shows the color fantastically. Looking at the dovetail pocket area, the dovetails themselves remain exactly the same as the original Gillo risers, and they use the exact same lateral limb adjustment system that uses opposing screws to tip the dovetail to one side or the other, consistent with past risers. Those two parts are basically the same. The grip that comes on the GT is a hardwood grip. In the past, most of the grips were the thermoplastic grip. I certainly prefer the hardwood grip on the new GTs, but the thermoplastic grips also fit. There's one more additional type of grip called a ball style grip. I've seen a few archers using those, something you can special order for this riser. Basically, that's what is the same from the original Gillo risers. What is most clearly new and most innovative about this new riser is the adjustable limb pockets. It's got the same style through holes under the riser, though these holes are larger than they were in the past, and I'll explain a little bit about that later. It does not come with the existing cover that the G1 risers came with. It is going to come bare with no cover. You can add a cover if you prefer, and you can add some of the internal weights or some of Gillo's great bare bow weights that slide right over that lower section of the riser. Also, out of the box comes with a short clicker, and you could add an extended clicker that does come with the riser. Now, what's different and unique? Vittorio and Gillo Archery have created something here that is unlike anything I've ever seen before, and it gives some adjustability and tunability to archers that they've not been able to do in the past with conventional ILF and formula style risers. This is basically the same riser, same piece of machined aluminum from here to here, and it changes in length when we switch the ILF pocket and put a formula pocket in its place. So this is 25 inches ILF, and it becomes a 27-inch formula with the formula pockets. That changing the pockets, has to be done at an approved Gillo dealer. It's not something we can ship you a new pocket and you can change it yourself. The riser has to be shipped back to us or shipped back to another approved dealer, and we will change that limb pocket out for you. The ILF version is 19, it's 23, it's 25, it's 27, and 29. The formula version starts with the basic 19-inch ILF, and with a longer pocket becomes a 21-inch formula. Then there's a 23-inch ILF with a longer pocket becomes a 25-inch formula, and then there's a 25-inch ILF which with the longer pocket becomes a 27. So the formula risers are available in 21, 25, and 27 inches. ILF risers are available in 19, 23, 25, 27, and 29 inches. Beyond that, the 27-inch ILF style riser and the 29-inch ILF style riser, Gillo does not recommend adding formula pockets to those. So the longest formula style riser is going to be a 27-inch. The longest ILF style riser is the 29-inch. So keep that in mind. If you want a 29-inch riser, it means you're going to have to shoot ILF style limbs. It's going to be a great benefit to certain style archers, especially tall archers, maybe barebow and string walking archers, but it's an option you've really never had before. All ILF and Hoyt style risers, all those that I'm familiar with, have always adjusted by driving the limb bolt up and down towards the archer or away from the archer. That changes the load of the limbs, which changes the draw weight, and can change the tiller if we adjust the limb bolts independent of one another. What you'll see is in past limitations for ILF and formula style bows, one of those is the dovetail area. This is a piece of limb hardware. This is ILF formula style hardware. This goes through the limb. It's got a spring-loaded D10 at the bottom, and it's got this dovetail shape to it. This is a piece of Gillo dovetail hardware that goes in all Gillo risers. Limitations in the past had to do with, as we decreased draw weight, this piece of hardware had to rock back inside of this dovetail slot. And there's obviously a limit to how much room there is to tip backwards. Conversely, as you increase draw weight, this piece of hardware would rock forward like this. Once again, there's a limit to how much range you have to do that. The new risers and the new pocket design, they're going to keep this connection exactly as it is and tip the entire pocket like this. That gives you more adjustment range, and that gives you just a better, quieter, more consistent sitting limb, because we're not changing how that limb sits in the pocket. It's going to remain at one position, and the entire pocket is going to pivot like this. Now, instead of moving the bolt up and down, we're moving this entire pocket, pivoting the entire pocket at this pivot point right here. Why is that unique, and what advantages does that create? Well, in the past, the way that a limb contacted the hardware here at the dovetail slot, and the way the limb tip contacted the limb bolt here on the underside of the limb bolt cap created limitations, or created a certain type of limitation for how much movement we could make pivoting our limb bolt up and down and pivoting the limb. This new design holds the limb in the exact same position relative to the bolt and the dovetail slot. The limb hardware does not pivot inside this dovetail pocket. The limb fork does not change position under the limb bolt cap. The limb will stay exactly in the same position relative to these two pieces of hardware, and the entire pocket pivots. What that does is it gives us a much broader range of adjustment. In the past, ILF and formula style limbs gave you up to about 10% adjustment, maybe 12, maybe 15%, but that was stretching the adjustability of the system at 12 or 15%. Gillo describes a 30% weight adjustability. That's fantastic, and that gives us a huge range to work our limbs through. What that means is a set of limbs that is roughly 40 pounds at the middle of the adjustment range can drop 6 pounds to almost 34 pounds, or increase 6 pounds to almost 46 pounds. That's a huge change in limb weight and a huge amount of adjustability. I think that maybe more than most archers need or want, but it's certainly more than they've ever had in the past. That's achieved by inserting a hex key into what looks like a conventional limb bolt, and as I do that, it drives the entire pocket down or up, and you're going to see this pocket relative to this point dropping down as I turn the bolt clockwise. From this, the factory position, when the pocket is basically at the same level as the corner of our riser here, and you can check this if you've been adjusting this riser and you want to get back to factory position, and you put your bow square here, you can see that the pocket surface is basically at the same surface or height as this portion of the riser right here. Once those two are leveled up, that means you're at the factory position and where an original Gillo would have been. Now I can drive the limb bolt or the pocket about 4 turns downward At about 4 turns downward, I can feel this rubber bushing starting to fully compress, and it takes a lot more effort to make any more turns. I can also feel the adjusting screw here starting to protrude from the belly side of the riser. Once you've gotten to that position, that's your maximum load. You don't want to turn beyond that, and you can certainly feel the rubber starting to compress and the limb pocket beginning to want to stop moving downward. So at that point is our maximum weight, approximately 4 turns clockwise. From that position, I have 10, maybe 11 as I play with this riser, maybe even 11 and a half turns until I get to what Gillo describes as the lightest draw weight position or the most relaxed position for the limbs. So turning this limb bolt all the way out, you can see our pocket is raising above this point here. And now I'm going to carefully watch in this through hole here to find what is the most relaxed position for a given set of limbs. And I can see when I've reached that position, because I can begin to start seeing daylight through our hole at this position here. If the stainless steel screw that adjusts this pocket is only partially covering this through hole, you know you've gone outward beyond what is the acceptable adjustment range for the pocket. So what I need to do is I need to drive this down just a partial turn, and I can see that the stainless steel screw has now filled the through hole, and I know I'm not adjusted out too far beyond what Gillo recommends for the riser. Once your limbs have reached the position where you're going to shoot the bow, your bow is tuned, the weight is correct, the tiller is correct, what you've got to do is you've got to drive a brass set screw in to hold the pocket in position. This is a metric brass locking set screw, and it's made out of brass because it's softer than steel. And what we don't want to do is we don't want to drive it in with too much force and damage the stainless steel screws inside the adjustment hole. Once I'm there, I'm going to use the short arm of the key to apply a little pressure. At that point, I know I now can trust that this adjustment screw will stay exactly where I want it, and I did not over tighten that. There's no need to. Your bow will remain exactly where it needs to be with light pressure on that locking screw. What else you will find is new is you're going to see a slightly different cutout through the lower weight holes here. They've opened up the through hole quite a bit. The reason they've done that is for some really innovative new accessories that are going to mount in these holes, like the brand new V-bar mounts from Gillo. The V-bar accessory is really unique and is going to mount directly to the riser. You've got a single locking screw that comes from one side and is going to pull both pieces to the center of the riser and very securely mount them. They can be moved from the top position closest to the archer's hand all the way to the middle and bottom position farthest away from the archer's hand. They're extremely durable, secure, and are going to keep your V-bars in place. There's also 4 different angles for mounting your V-bars. So depending on which one of these 4 different holes we use, we can move the V-bars from a very narrow position closest to our bow arm to a very wide position for the most stability. So whatever you prefer can be found in one of these 4 different positions, and you're going to have to use the same position on either side to get good balance out of your bow. Great new innovative product, mounts directly to the riser, and it's something that's brand new for the Gillo GT in 2020. That is what is unique about this brand new riser, innovative and useful for archers for tuning their equipment. If you like this video, hit the notification button at the bottom of this video. That's going to allow you to see more videos like these when we produce them to help explain new products like the GT. Go ahead and hit a like for me too. But if you have questions about the GT, call and talk with one of our tech experts or see us at lancasterarchery.com.